So our next award goes to Professor Raul Rosales, the class of 1999, and a beloved Drew faculty member. And I can't tell you how many nice things people say about this man, because we received a lot of nice comments. He is receiving the Francis B. Sellers Award, which honors alumni who personify the ideals of the Francis B. Sellers program, which was formerly used to be called the Educational Opportunity Scholars, the EOS program. And these people who have contributed significantly to their community, the award is given in recognition and memory of the late director of the program, Francis B. Sellers, and the people who received this award promote and exemplify the values of this award, which is service to the success of our urban youth. Raul grew up always knowing that he was going to teach. His parents were fully supportive, although their life experiences in the aftermath of the Cuban Revolution of 1959 did not include college for themselves. Since then, Raul has earned 2 master's degrees, a doctoral degree, and he's now a professor of Spanish at Drew. I think had he been here when I was here, I probably would have taken Spanish. His research explores the intersection of autobiographical theory, self-representation, and memory discourse in contemporary Latinx fiction and Cuban diasporic narrative. Raul is also a great supporter of the Francis B. Sellers Office, supporting the program for and being a mentor to students who enter Drew University through that program. And it gives me a great honor to call him up to receive his award.
Thank you all, and thank you to the College Alumni Board for this honor. I am so humbled. When I arrived at Drew as a student back in 1996, never could I have imagined that almost 3 decades later, I would remain so connected to Drew as both a professor and an alumnus. It really feels like I arrived at Drew and never left. And as I reflect on my trajectory from student to alum to faculty, I can proudly state that what really happened is that Drew never left me. So much of what I am and still aspire to be as a professor, global citizen, human being, was largely fomented by that Drew experience that began so many years ago. And this award today is only the result of that journey. Recently, I was asked to speak about my favorite mentoring experience at Drew. Several years ago, I was set to teach my first year DSEM seminar on Latino representation, and I had a significant population of first-generation students in the course. I was so excited to be their professor and advisor, and I knew I could have a positive impact because I myself had been a first-generation Drew student. And so I identified with what many of these students were experiencing: the culture shock, the anxiety, the burden of family expectations. In essence, I thought that I could relate to them. On that first day, the class and I immediately connected. But there was one student who had arrived incredibly excited, but who, as the session went on, seemed to withdraw and grow anxious. She appeared so stressed by the end of that first class that I took her aside and spoke to her. And I discovered the source of her stress. We were covering the course syllabus in that first session, but this student had never seen a syllabus before and was completely overwhelmed by my 18-pager. I admit, it had never before occurred to me how different students could receive a syllabus. I had made assumptions based solely on my own experience and privilege. That moment was poignant. Connecting with my students required more than remembering and centralizing my experience. I had to meet them in the moment where they were, and I had to be open to engaging with what I didn't know, fully embracing that the mentoring relationship is one of mutual exchange and mutual growth. Fast forward, and that student anxious about the syllabus, but as bright, engaged, and intellectually curious as they come, would go on to graduate from Drew with a very high GPA, and is today a successful public school teacher who gives back and learns from the youth in whom she, like I did in that DSEM class, sees herself reflected. I share this story not because I was in any way singly responsible for my students' success. I wasn't. But because in it lives the spirit of Francis B. Sellers, the Francis B. Sellers program, and this award's significance. I can take credit for fostering true community, for helping my student in every way I could to navigate her years at Drew in the full conviction that on this campus she had a home and that she belonged. That at Drew there is a vibrant village of support, and that at Drew difference is always celebrated. I find joy in sharing with my students what Drew taught and gave me, and in giving back to them my life lesson that we can always be reciprocal learners. That no one person, not even the professor, always has the right answer, but that through community, communication, collaboration, and acceptance, we can continue to engage in that learning process at Drew and beyond. In our global campus, we are a community of different racial, religious, cultural, and socioeconomic backgrounds, of different sexual orientations and gender identities, of different political ideologies. We are not always going to agree, but we can respectfully debate and challenge one another while still being engaged with the world inside and outside Drew's walls, doing everything we can to make it a better place and to learn and grow in the process. Francis B. Sellers' vision compels us to acknowledge that our diversity demands that we listen, and we are so fortunate that Drew has been and continues to be that laboratory where, as a community, we can be free to constantly challenge each other and ourselves while never forgetting that we are and forever will be works in progress. Thank you so much for this award. It means a lot.